100%. So, Prithvi, congratulations. Tell me, how does it feel right now, just knowing
Oh,
that
it feels unreal. This is my second attempt at MICA. The first attempt I gave was like, okay, दे देते हैं कुछ पता नहीं MICA के बारे में, and I gave it with my friend, a really close friend of mine. He's just a pass out. If you know Sayan Bhattacharya, so he was a really close
of
friend of
course.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we gave it together. He got in, I did not. So I decided to take a job for 12 months, and okay, I'll give it again.
So, okay, that sounds about nice. So, can you tell us a little bit about your profile? Like, you said you
Sure.
mentioned WorkX. What else? What's your background like?
So I'm an engineer. I did my engineering in EXTC, Electronics and Telecommunication, from Mumbai University, from a college called Ramravati, from now known as DY Patil. And after that, I did 12 months of WorkX in IT, and then I quit my job, did some studies, then figured out I'm currently working as a consulting at a consulting firm called Acing. And I'm working there as a sustainability manager, intern, but that's less sustainability, more business analysis.
Let's begin, if you don't mind, by if you can share your CAT and MICAT scores of whichever exam you took, and MICAT 1, 2,
Sure.
all of that.
Sure. So it's a different, I'll give you two examples. So my score was 95.5 percentile in CAT, and then I scored 13.25 in MICAT. So the MICAT, I remember with the first time I gave MICA, it was relatively easier, and I scored 33.43, and I still did not get a call. So scoring 13.25, I was like, oh damn, am I going to get a call? It's much less. But I think the scores have gone down. They are focusing really on quants from the feel of it, from what I saw. And so the paper difficulty has shot up from the last 2 years. So any score, I know people who have scored 4 marks and gotten selected. One of my friends who scored 85 percentile in CAT got selected. So score is, you just keep it consistent. That's what I feel is the good answer. Work really hard on descriptive. I think that is the game changer. Because I have seen children with 99 percentile, 21 marks in MICAT, but not a single light behind their eyes. I think that's why they did not, qualify the descriptive. That's what I feel. Apart from, that was basically my score profile.
Understood. Yeah, I mean, as far as they don't really give out their official scores in percentage. Also, the 30 and 13, the scale of marking was very different. So I'm sure it doesn't matter the absolute score that you got. It was more about relatively and their new system. So that's great. Let's move on to your GE experience. I'm hoping that's more fun and you have something interesting as an experience.
No. So from the data I collected for GE, basically, I like to collect data about everything before doing anything. So data I collected GE was I have to be outspoken. That was the general idea. I have to be the man of ideas, and that's what I usually am. I try to give ideas, but something unexpected happened in my GE. Some person randomly took charge, and I was not able to do anything. And I was not comfortable with the topic, to be honest. It was Zumba. Basically, the topic was, you need to spread the awareness towards Zumba, as yoga has a very big, entry barrier. There is a physical entry barrier a lot of people can't do. So promote Zumba on Zumba Day. And I'm completely out of my comfort zone. Okay, what is Zumba? That's the first thing I said. Okay, anybody who knows Zumba, explain that to me, please. I was very comfortable with the idea of not being in my comfort zone, but I was not able to think in a way which I normally should have. So in that spur of the moment, I decided, okay, I can't be the man of ideas, but I can do other things. So my entire job in that moment was, okay, I need to be the time watcher. And so I took time. Everybody was going at different ideas. So I was like, okay, let's come back, get a narrow path, And I was trying my best to align two things. So one group was working on posters, one group was working on an advert, which we learned. So I was aligning them. Okay, so this is what they're doing. Come on. So I think in the GE, the best thing you should do is be quick on your feet and understand, okay, if this is not something I can do, I can fill in other roles, because they're going to take a note of that as well, what I feel. So yeah, that's what my GA experience was. It was very different from other select people who got selected, because everybody's like, oh, I gave so many ideas. I did this. I was like, I just watched time and I said do this. That's all I did. But I think GE depends from person to person. And I really believe the core faculty understands that not every topic is going to be comfortable. If they're going to be plastic or something, I would have nailed it, but this is what happens. So You
No,
make
I
the
think
best of
you're a
what you're doing.
perfect example of that. It's not just about being the loudest or the most creative voice in the room. There are a lot of nuanced aspects to it. So I'm sure there's more that they see than we ever understand. But can you tell us what exactly the topic was about Zumba? And what was
Oh,
your...
so yeah, as I said, it was basically, as yoga has a big initiation barrier, like a great physical barrier, a lot of people can't do yoga. So promote Zumba on Zumba Day. That was the one line.
Okay, just that, very simply, like no details of okay, what platform, what
No, no.
company. It was just for the
Mhm.
cause. Pretty interesting and yeah, pretty different from the stories we hear. We've heard, oh,
So
write a
I
jingle
that
and do a play and all of that.
so I did one small thing before. I knew that G is gonna happen. So the first thing I did, I saw a bunch of 30 people. Even before the day, I was like, okay, I need to get as many contacts because I don't know who I'll be at G. So I already knew like 8 people already from WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups again. And as soon as I entered and I figured out, okay, this is gonna be basically my group, I'll ask them सबका SWOT analysis कर रहा हूँ. Okay, what are your strengths? What are weakness? तुम बताओ. And I made a list, and before even entering, I knew what tasks to assign to everyone. So I was like, okay, I know you can rap. Create a jingle. Go. Take 2 people. Go make a jingle. Oh, I know you can do this. Oh, just do that. Please go ahead and do that. I know you can draw. So like, take this poster, take someone you think can draw, and figure it out. That's what I did. Basically, get a strength, weakness analysis of everyone. Not do it inside because they should not know my weaknesses, but just get a general gist of who I'm around.
Got it. Got your point about data also that you mentioned earlier, that you just gathered as much as you could about the others and put your
A
best.
girl like who became a friend of mine got very annoyed. Like, kitna puchta hai? Please, this is all I do, man.
I think I've heard this from a couple of people that time you get when you know this is your group and you're probably waiting for them to call you in. A lot of people utilize that to their advantage and to just get to know and get comfortable with the group. So I'm guessing that would have also helped you. Were
I
there
got
any
really lucky
tips?
because
Sorry, go ahead.
so I got really lucky. Yeah, sorry. I got really lucky because right after I was the first to go into my PA. And after that, I had a lot of time. And I could see people going to G, and there were only like 10 people left whose G was left. So I was like, okay, this is basically going to be my group. So I figured it out. I had around 40 minutes to talk to them. And I already knew 3 out of them beforehand through Telegram and WhatsApp, and I just figured my way out there. You were saying, sorry.
Pretty good, yeah. No, I was saying, were there any specific tips from the boot camp of Chhota Factory or anything that maybe helped you with the G or with the PA?
Ones which I attended were really insightful. So I think one of your colleagues said, like, create 3 stories basically, which you can and I could not create 3 stories, but I got a gist. Okay, I need to have some stories. I need to talk about something. So there were a few pointers. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there were a lot of insightful points which I took a note, and okay, this is gonna happen. This might happen. And the mock interviews were really interesting. So I got a lot of pointers from my mock interviews. So that was really fun.
That's nice. So speaking of mock interviews, what was your PI like? You mentioned you had Ruchi Tiwari, ma'am. Do you remember the other panelists, or just tell us about it?
I think the other 2 panelists were alums. I do not know exactly because as soon as I entered and she asked me, okay, what's your CAT percentile? Okay, like what are you doing right now? So I think I got very lucky. As soon as I entered, they asked me, okay, abhi kya kar raha tu? I was like, okay, I'm doing this report, check. And one of the other 2 were alums. And as soon as I discussed marketing, so Ruchi Tiwari ma'am basically just said, okay, oh, these 2 are alums, so they do a lot of marketing. So I am not the one, but they will grill you on that. There were not a lot of questions about marketing. It was basically ma'am just leading the interview and just like going straight at me like, okay, solar, okay, what are your clients? Okay, if I am your client, how will you sell this to me? What are the various revenue streams? And I'm like, can't figure it out. And one of the alums complimented me, like, you have really prepared well for climate. And I'm like, I haven't actually. I prepared for philosophy. Let's get to that, So yeah, that happened. Apart from that, the conversation was basically about one of my dislikes was critically online. One of my dislikes was basically like chronically online. It's a phenomenon of Gen Z constantly be online. And there were a lot of discussions like, okay, because in the start of the interview, I said, I am really passionate about my generation because we really take care of our climate and we are really passionate about a lot of things. A lot of policies are our efforts, a lot of active. They asked me, like, give us 2 examples of 2 movements. So I said, okay, the RA forest thing. It was Gen Z who headed it with the help of social media. And instantly they said, okay, but you like social media, but you hate social media. So give us an idea. So they asked me a lot of like, how will you change the Indian scenario? Like government ke baare mein kaise karoge? What will you do? Who will you approach? So I thought there were a lot of contradictions, obviously, in my statements because you can't choose the extreme. You can't be at the very end. So a lot of my answers were for marketing and everything, not digital marketing. And they constantly asked me again, okay, do you want to do digital marketing? But what is this? Then I had to explain again and again the same thing. Maybe they just wanted to understand if I'm thinking in the right direction or my thoughts align or I mess up somewhere. But yeah, basically
I
climate
think a lot
conscious,
of times
chronically online.
they re-question so that they want to know that it's your original thought and how much you stick by it, and if not, then do you accept something else? So I think that's a usual thing for them. But
so they asked me this one question which I still remember. So one alum was not talking, she was just observing, but out of nowhere she just goes like, Prithvi, so if you get a job which is less paying than your peers, and I was like, I know where this is going, great. And will you take this job? Like we can see our other peers being happy, and because they're working in very ugly climate companies, but they're earning a lot. You can't pay your bills, you are on loans, how are you going to survive? I took a moment and I just said, my dad is going to hate me if he hears what I'm going to just say, and I'm going to take a less paying job to a climate conscious company. I'm sorry. And then she cross-questioned me, but I stick to it. Like, okay, I don't care about money. My idea is this, and even if it kills me, I'm going to do this. I'm sorry. So yeah, then the topic came to
the purposefulness behind that answer. Pretty interesting and very different.
I stick to my guns. They asked me like, why not you? So I was like, okay, I have to be very realistic. I became frank. Like, I had this doomsday scenario कि दुनिया खत्म हो जाएगा, तो मेरे को काम नहीं करना है. Then she joked, Ruchi ma'am, जिसके assignments नहीं होते, मैम आ जाएंगे, don't worry. I'll get my assignments done. So yeah, I tried to keep it chill. Even if they tried to grill me, I tried to make some dumb jokes or something to at least get a persona that I'm having fun.
Yeah, I think that really eases the situation and takes the nerves out of the equation. So that's a good way to approach it. I'm sure it's very difficult in the moment because like you feel like you're being grilled and there's a pressure of doing well, but I think very nicely managed, I must say. So yeah, I think that's
I think one of my strongest...
Yeah, tell us more.
So one of my strongest point was, and one other thing which I noticed, okay, I had my profile, the application sheet likes and dislikes, I kept it very diverse. It was not like something basic or something. I kept it diverse. I had absurdism. I had one of the really good shows I like, Neon Genesis. Kept it diverse. Punctuality was one of my dislikes, unpunctuality, and just kept it in a way that they do not go beyond it. They keep it to my strengths. And one thing they do is they find one point which matches with your profile. So climate conscious, it matched with my current profile. And they take it to the ground. They will take it to your grave and they'll just keep asking you. They'll change and then they'll take that point to the ground. So it was a 1 hour interview or something. And I was just like,
1 hour.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember the time, but like I went inside, I came outside, I was like, damn. Because my back was hurting at the end and I was like, should I change my position? Because it hurts a lot. So I just crossed my leg and I was like, yes, continue. But yeah, it was really fun. You don't notice the time when you're in, but only when you're out, other people tell, don't know.
No, in fact, I had the opposite experience. Mine was one of the shorter ones, and I felt like it lasted an eternity. But then, I was still talking, and then abruptly, like they asked, "Oh, do you have any other questions?" And I'm like, "Oh God, why are they ending this? They've definitely found something to, not take me." And then I'm looking back and thinking, oh, I should have been more impressive in this answer. I should have said something else here. But I think it's just us overanalyzing that situation. And then
in retrospect, we do that. I was like, I shouldn't have crossed my legs. I should have done this. I should have just kept straight. They asked me, what do you have questions for us? And I just laughed. Like, oh shit. I'm going to keep my interview only about climate, I guess. And I just said, oh, it's going to sound weird, but what are MICA's climate goals? And she said something and I she talked about, I think, my impact and something about the project they are doing, I think Jampada district, Odisha. And I read about it beforehand, luckily, on LinkedIn, through LinkedIn. And I just talked about, I saw the news about this gave her a few bits of information. Talked about MICAT as well, from where I heard MICA has net zero goals or something. So tried to show that I know about the institute and you need to take me.
Lovely. I think you've used all those readings and resources to your advantage, and look where it got you. So that's awesome. Job well done. So, Priti, that's it from my end. Do you have any other parting thoughts or any tips or anything at all to share? Then now's the time. Otherwise, we did get quite a lot of good insight.
And I think I gave everything I had in my bag.
Got it. So that's awesome.